There's an issue I'd just like to address and put out in the public eye. It's going to be coming before us in the near future, I believe on November 13th. Originally, there was consideration to place it on today's consent agenda, but it was not placed on the agenda due to feedback from some of the commissioners. But it deals with the tourist development tax and the TDC capital grant program. And just as we consider this in the future, currently that fifth penny of the tourist development tax is dedicated to, in the form of a grant process, to projects north of Midway. And so 1/3 of that fifth penny has to go to projects north of Midway. I understand that there's history behind that, and I understand that at one time, we've been able to do great things with that. But I think the county is in a place right now where we're one St. Lucie County, and that we really need to start looking at things countywide. And so I'd like to, in the future, look at addressing our ordinance so that anyone in the county can apply for this grant. And so just before that becomes before us, I think that it should be a countywide thing, and anyone in the county should be able to apply for that. Thank you.
Madam
Thank
Chair.
you. Yes, sir.
Commissioner, this has been a part of the process since the tourist development tax has been created, and this goes back to as far as Commissioner Barnes way back when. And with the support of the New York Mets and that which is the entire corridor south of Midway Road, in 15 years, I'm just going to go off the top of my head here, so don't quote me on the actual numbers, but in the last 15 years, nearly $30 million has gone south of Midway Road, and just a little over $2 million has gone north of Midway Road. And so when the process was developed, those commissioners back then wanted to be able to do what you just said, to be able to share the revenue across the entire county, with $30 million going south of Midway and $2 million going north of Midway. There you can see the imbalance. And so if we had not moved forward with $60 million renovation of First Data Field, there could have been a process. We could have let the Mets go and changed the entire process. I don't think anybody wanted to do that, and certainly in conversations when we were making the decision to create that bond, $60 million bond, to keep the Mets here, to support that which is the economy of Port St. Lucie, specifically St. Lucie West, and the billions and billions and billions of dollars that have been invested because of the Mets. So the challenge that you're going to face, I believe, and I'm going to argue too, maintain the tax as it exists, so that you're right, it should be countywide. There should be a portion coming north of Midway Road, and the return on the investment has been significant. Look at the Navy SEAL Museum. $750,000 has gone into that, with nearly $5 million of private investment to expand that. The Heathcote Botanical Gardens, $145,000 with $1 million build, with the largest bonsai display in the nation, if not around the world, except for Japan. The $400,000 to the Bacchus expansion, which has seen hundreds of thousands of people come through and illuminating that which is our local artist, A.E. Bacchus. So there are a lot of things that have been coming forward to actually spread that tourism dollar out. And so the one thing that you also might want to understand too is that the tourism dollars, the other 2/3 is actually to run the actual organization, to do all the advertisement, which is countywide. So there isn't just, advertisement goes to the North County and that to the South. All of the advertisement that is done countywide. So I think that that's some history that you may or may not have. I don't know how far you've looked into this, but when you put $30 million in 15 years on one side of the county and only $2 in the north side of the county, there's an imbalance. So you're right, there should be more money going north, but that's not how the tourist development tax is broken out.
All right, Commissioner, if I just may respond, and I have looked into the history, and I've talked with the county attorney and the county administrator about this, and with Charlotte and tourism. The Mets are in Port St. Lucie because they benefit the county, not because we gave a gift to the city of Port St. Lucie. Just like when we invested $25 million in the port, we did that because it benefits the entire county. And we can't afford to, on this board, pit North County versus South County. When we make a decision, we have to make a decision that it's the best thing for the overall county. You know, I know that the people in District 2 are going to benefit when Prima Vista gets paved. It doesn't matter that Prima Vista is not in District 2. So all I'm asking is to simply take this handicapping out of the process, let everybody apply, and if in fact it's only projects north of Midway that merit the grant, that's fine, but at least everybody gets a fair shake. You know, it would be absurd for me to say we spent $25 million in North County on the port, so where am I going to get my $25 million for District 2? It doesn't work like that. We invest in the port, we invest in the airport, we're going to pay Prima Vista because it benefits the entire county. And so that's why I think we need to address this formula, which may have been beneficial to the county at one time, but is no longer beneficial.
And what I'd like to do is, Mr. McIntyre, maybe you can do a white paper for all of us along with the public in regards to the history of how we've gone, and maybe put some of the stats through O&B. And then, Mr. Tipton, if in the future you can schedule this as a discussion at one of our upcoming informals. I wouldn't suggest the November one due to the fact that it's already a tight day with several important subjects on that informal one. Are there any other comments from the board?